What up, witches? It's been a while since I've done an occult book review, and that is just simply because I have literally only been reading fanfics. I am trying, I really am. I am trying to read something other than fanfics. Like I said before, I'm pretty sure I've said this before, I honestly might have a little bit of an issue because, yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed with reading fanfics. Like, I can't stop. I want to say, what is it, like February? It's February right now, almost the end of February. I have had to have read at least like 45, maybe 50, maybe 70. I don't usually count, but anywhere from 45 to 70 I've already read this year so far. I have a little bit of an issue. So I redid my Google Reads for the year, the amount of books I want to read this year. And so since I do have this series, I'm calling it a series because I am planning on doing more, even though currently there's only one video and then the second one, which I guess makes it a series. But I am planning on doing this occult book review series. And so that is something that I have to stick to. So that is at least some books that will be on my Goodreads that won't be fanfics because I don't put fanfics on my Goodreads. But I did give myself like a 45. I think I gave myself 45 real books I have to read this year that are not fanfics. So this is one of them. I don't know if I really count this as like a real book that I read. I mean, yes, I read it, but it's not like a novel or like it is informational. I guess I don't know really how to explain it. It's more like a guide, I guess, and less like a book. I'm not explaining anything correctly, but it's more like a guide. I'm still going to put it on my Goodreads though because I did friggin' read it. And the book I'm talking about is The Pictorial Key to the Tarot. This book was on my list of books to read. Just in general, I think it was on my list, my Amazon list. I actually got this not from Amazon, but I got it from thriftbooks.com, which is a book website where you can buy used books for a cheaper amount of money. I talked about this before in my Book of Shadow series because that's where I get a lot of my reference books from. I get them from Thrift Books because you can buy really cheap books, and I really love that website. A lot of times these like occult, mysticism, like spiritual, a lot of these books like this, especially these like serious occult ones, I guess I would call, like the one that I read, the Book of Forbidden Knowledge or whatever. A lot of the times they use a lot of language that's like not easy to understand. It's not even the language because I understand the words they're using, but just like the way they put them together, I'm just like, why would you say it like that? And I'm going to say that this one is in that same category of like, why would you say that? It seems rather of necessity than predilection in the sense of apologia that I should put on record in the first place a plain statement of my personal position as one who for many years of literary life has been subject to his spiritual and other limitations and exponent of the higher mystic symbols. Why? Why are you saying it like that? Okay, just one more. I do not seek to persuade anyone outside of my own circles that this is of much or no consequence, but on the historical and interpretive sides, it has not fared better. It has been there in the hands of exponents who has brought it into utter contempt for those people who possesses philosophical insight of faculties for the appreciation of evidence. Okay, guy, I got it. Thank you. So this was written by Arthur Edward Waite, and it was originally published in 1910. So I guess I'll give him a pass on the language, but like, come on, nobody wants to read that. So this book is put into 3 parts, is what he says. But really it's 4. I mean, the preface doesn't count, but for me it does, because while I was reading it, I was like, what is even going on? Like, I understood it, but like kind of not, I was like, what? So there's the preface, which has all of this outrageous language. So part 1, based on I forgot what this beginning bit is called, but based on this, part 1 is the introductory and general statements. And then it's class 1, the trumps major, otherwise greater arcana. And then there's class 2, the 4 suits, otherwise lesser arcana. And then there's the tarot history. And this whole part is once again written in very difficult to understand language. And while I was getting the gist of most of it, yeah, it's hard. And then there's part 3, which is where we get into like the actual pictorial part of it, which is mostly what I was looking for. I was looking for the informational part of it, but I do have a separate more recently written book for that part, which might be just a little bit more easier to understand. So once I finish reading that one, I will also do a review on that book. But I'm not gonna lie, the part of the book that I was the most interested in was the pictorial part, which is where you see the actual picture of the tarot, and then on this side it'll explain what the significance is of each of the things in it, or what the important parts of it at least, and then it'll tell you like what they signify, if that makes sense. I'm making sense, yeah. So that was basically the real reason why I kind of wanted to get this, just so I can know what the important parts of each card is and what parts are important to that card and which parts are just like filler. To me, this is a great guidebook if you're planning on making your own cards and you want to make sure you have all the important elements, like all the parts in the card that need to be there before you start like changing it and doing your own thing with it. This will be a good guide to help you make sure you have all the key elements of the cards that you need. This is also great if you're like just starting out and you do a spread and you find cards and you're like, dang it, what the heck did that mean? I forgot. You whip out your handy dandy pictorial guide, and then you just, read the parts of it and see how they apply to whatever spread you were using. And for some reason, this part also had the language and everything in it, but like when it's talking about the actual card and what's on it, it's a lot easier to understand than when they're just like talking about whatever else was in the book. Like I read that beginning part and I was like, what the heck are they talking about? And then I'll read like a passage like, okay, so for the Fool, let's take for example, since that's a pretty popular card that people like can know on sight what it is. So the Fool, this is what it says. With light step as if earth in its trammels had little power to restrain him, a young man in gorgeous vestments paused at the brink of a precipice among the great heights of the world. Yes, it's still a little bit like, what? But at least it's a little bit easier to follow. And I wish that they had kept that language along with the rest of the book, because I might have been a little bit more interested. I was going to lie, but I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit like, through half the book. So I also like the layout of the book. I really like that each page has the description and the actual card, and there's nothing else to distract from it. It's just description card. It's very straightforward on what it's telling you it is. And if the description happens to be longer than what this one is, you just turn the page and there's nothing else distracting it. It's just a simple continuation of the page before. And it's very like straightforward on what it's talking about. And there's no other distractions when it comes to actually talking about each card. After the section detailing what each card means, both upside, right side up, and upside down, it then just goes into a summary where it again like lists all the cards, but instead of pictures, it's just the name. So it's a very quick reference. So it'll be the name, the meaning of it, and what it means reversed, which I thought was very helpful also if you're just looking for like a quick reference and you don't need to actually look at the picture of the card. You just need to like look at the meaning real quick. And then after that, what I thought was really cool that they did was that they have these little sections where they'll show you spreads and they'll show you the way you're supposed to flip them, what each one entails depending on which spread you're doing. So that was really cool that they gave you some examples of some spreads that you'd be able to do. The back of the book gives a little information about this author, Edward Waite, and it says, author Edward Waite was a profound student of the occult. He was a member of the Order of the Golden Dawn, and he brought us to know the tarot, or as much of the tarot as we are privileged to know at this time. The language on the back of the cover is obviously a lot more easier to read than the language in the book, and I'm like, dang, I just wish they would have kept that throughout, but I realize it's from 1910, so whatever. Overall, I think it's a really great book to have. There hasn't been any website I've seen where it's been like super expensive. It's a great book to have in your occult book collection, one that you should have. I'm interested in like learning about tarot, but I don't really want to like participate in it. It's not something I really want to like actually do, but I am interested in learning more about it. And like I said in my previous video on a solitary witch, so any information that I want to know, I have to like find that information on my own, figure out what information pertains to me and what doesn't, figure out what information is useless fluff and what isn't. And I thought that this would be a pretty good start to that. But then I also have another tarot book that I'm going to read that says a lot more modern and might be a little bit easier for me to understand. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people that will read this and will have no problem at all reading all the jargon in it. But for me, yeah, it's a bit much. And I really enjoy the pictorial guide, which is the reason why I got it. So that part I do enjoy. And I think that it would be a good book to have. I recommend it. 10 out of 10. No, I'm lying. 8 out of 10 for the language, but understandable because it was written in 1910. So 8 out of 10 for language, but great book to have. I say get it. Okay, that's all. Bye.